Hello students, my name is S.S. Shipriya, Program Officer at National CSR Hub, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. I will be discussing the module on adolescent female reproductive health. Biological maturity precedes psychosocial maturity. This has implications for policy and program responses to the exploration and experimentation that takes place during adolescence. The characteristics of both the individual and the environment influence the changes taking place during adolescence. Younger adolescents may be particularly vulnerable during the capacities are still developing and are beginning to move outside the confines of their families. The changes in adolescence have health consequences not only in adolescence but also over the life course. The unique nature and importance of adolescence mandates explicit and specific attention in health policy and programs. Adolescence is a period of life with specific health and developmental needs and rights. It is also a time to develop knowledge and skills, learn to manage emotions and relationships, and acquire attributes and abilities that will be important for enjoying assuming transition from childhood to adulthood, which is defined and recognized that differs between cultures and over time. In the past, it has often been relatively rapid, and in some societies, it still is. In many countries, however, it is changing. Age is a convenient way to develop adolescence, but it is only one characteristic that delineates this period of development. Age is often more appropriate for assessing and comparing biological changes, example puberty, which are fairly universal, than the social transitions which vary more with the social cultural environment. Adolescents are future demographic key holders. The future of the nation depends upon adolescent people. The economic growth of the country rely on adolescents. The skill development and its outcome are related to adolescents. Various programs are initiated for the welfare and development of adolescents in India. Adolescence, transitional phase of growth and development between childhood and adulthood. The World Health Organization (WHO) defines an adolescent as any person between the ages 10 and 19. This age range falls between WHO's definition of young people, which refers to individuals between the ages 10 and 24. Implications for policies and programs. The changes that take place during adolescence suggest 9 observations, with implications for health policies and programs. Adolescents need explicit attention. Adolescents are not all the same. Some adolescents are particularly vulnerable. Adolescent development has implications for adolescent health. Adolescent development has health implications throughout life. The changes during adolescence affect how adolescents think and act. Adolescents need to understand the process taking place during adolescence. To attribute positively, adults need to understand the processes taking place during adolescence. Public health and human rights coverage converge around concepts of adolescent development. Improving health for adolescents. What we must do to improve and maintain the health of the world's 1 billion adolescents. Health for the world's adolescents is a WHO report fully addressing that question across the broad range of health needs of people between ages 10 to 19 years. It was presented to member states at the 2014 World Health Assembly in follow-up to its 2011 resolution 64.28 Youth and Health Risks. The report brings together all WHO guidance concerning adolescents across the full spectrum of health issues. It offers a state-of-the-art overview of 4 core areas for health sector action: providing health services collecting and using the data needed to plan and monitor health sector interventions, developing and implementing health promoting and health protecting policies, and mobilizing and supporting other sectors. The report concludes with key actions for strengthening national health sector responses to adolescent health. Global Accelerated Action for the Health of Adolescents (AAHA) supports country implementation and assess government's health-related matters of adolescents. The reproductive health needs of adolescents as a group have been largely ignored to date by existing reproductive health services. The response of societies to the reproductive health needs of adolescents should be based on information that helps them attain a level of maturity required to make responsible decisions. In particular, information and services should be made available to adolescents to help them understand their sexuality and protect them from unwanted pregnancies, sexually transmitted diseases, and subsequent risk of infertility. This should be combined with the education of young men to respect women's self-determination and to share responsibility with women in matters of sexuality and reproduction. This effort is uniquely important for the health of young women and their children, for women's self-determination, and in many countries for efforts to slow the momentum of population growth. Motherhood at a very young age entails a risk of maternal death that is much greater than average, and the children of young mothers have higher levels of mobility and mortality. Early childbearing continues to be an impediment to improvements in the educational, economic, and social status of women in all parts of the world. Overall, for young women, early marriage and early motherhood can severely curtail educational and employment opportunities and are likely to have a long-term adverse impact on their and their children's quality of life. Adolescent reproductive health is affected by pregnancy, abortion, STDs, sexual violence, and by the systems that limit access to information and clinical services. Reproductive health also is affected by nutrition, psychological well-being, and economic and gender equities that can make it difficult to avoid forced coerce or commercial sex. Pregnancy. In many parts of the world, women may marry and begin childbearing during their adolescent years. Pregnancy and childbirth carry greater risks of morbidity and mortality for adolescents than for women in their 20s, especially where medical care is scarce. Girls younger than age 18 face 2 to 5 times the risk of maternal mortality as women aged 18 to 25 due to prolonged and obstructed labor, hemorrhage, and other factors. Potentially life-threatening pregnancy-related illnesses such as hypertension and anemia also are more common among adolescent mothers, especially where malnutrition is endemic. Unsafe abortion. Adolescent unwanted pregnancies often end in abortion. Surveys in developing countries show that up to 60% of pregnancies to women below age 20 are misdeemed or unwanted. In Canada, Great Britain, New Zealand, and the United States, in the late 1980s, more than 50% of all abortions were obtained by women under 25.7. Pregnant students in many developing countries often seek abortions to avoid being expelled from school. Induced abortion often represents a greater risk for adolescents than for older women. Adolescents tend to wait longer to get help because they cannot access a provider or because they may not realize that they are pregnant. This risk is compounded in countries where abortion is only available under unsafe conditions. In Nigeria, for example, 50 to 70% of women are hospitalized for complications of induced abortion who are younger than 20. A 13-year review found that complications from unsafe abortion were responsible for 72% of maternal deaths among women under age 19 at one university hospital. STDs including HIV. STD infections can lead to lifelong health problems including infertility and chronic pain, and increase the risk of HIV transmission. Approximately 333 million cases of curable STDs occur each year. Available data suggests that one-third of STD infections in developing countries occur among 13 to 20-year-olds. In rural Kenya, for example, 41% of women aged 15 to 24 attending maternal and child health or family planning clinics had an STD, compared to about 16% of women of reproductive age. Adolescents also are at increased risk of contracting HIV or AIDS. Recent estimates are that over 40% of HIV infections occur in young people aged 15 to 24, 7,000 of 16,000 new infections each day. New infections among females outnumber males by a ratio of 2:1. Young people tend to be at greater risk of contracting STDs, including HIV or AIDS. For several reasons, intercourse often is unplanned or unwanted. Even when sex is consensual, adolescents often do not plan ahead for condom or other contraceptive use, and inexperienced users are more likely to use methods incorrectly. Furthermore, adolescent girls are at greater risk of infection than older women because of the immaturity of their reproductive system. Female genital mutilation, FGM. FGM, the partial or complete removal of external genitalia or other injury to the female genitalia, is a deeply rooted traditional practice that has severe reproductive health consequences for girls and women. Most women who have undergone FGM live in one of 28 African countries. Approximately 2 million girls are subjected to the practice each year. In addition to the psychological trauma at the time of the cutting, FGM can lead to infection, hemorrhage, and shock. Uncontrolled bleeding or infection can lead to death within hours or days. Some forms of FGM can lead to chronic pain with intercourse, recurrent pelvic infection, and prolonged obstructed labor. The ICPD Program of Action calls FGM a basic human rights violation and urges governments to stop the practice. Socio-cultural factors. Sexual abuse and coercion increase health risks for adolescents, as do cultural norms regarding gender and sexual relationships. For example, in some countries such as India, arranged marriage of girls younger than 14 is still common. Sexual exposure is occurring at ages as young as 9 to 12 years, as older men seek young girls as sexual partners to protect themselves from STD or HIV infections. In some cultures, young men are expected to have their first sexual encounter with a prostitute. Adolescents, especially young girls, often experience forced sexual intercourse. In Uganda, for example, 40% of 400 randomly selected primary school students who were sexually active reported being forced to have intercourse. In sub-Saharan Africa, some girls' first sexually experience is with a sugar daddy who provides clothing, school fees, and books in exchange for sex. Millions of children live and work on the streets in developing countries, and many are involved in survival sex, where they trade sex for food, money, protection, or drugs. For example, a survey in Guatemala City found that 40% of 143 street children surveyed had their first sexual encounter with someone they did not know. All had exchanged sex for money, all had been sexually abused, and 93% had been infected with an STD. In Thailand, an estimated 8 lakh prostitutes are under age 20. Of these, 2 lakhs are younger than 14. Some are sold into prostitution by parents to support other family members. The challenge of developing effective programs. Programs working to improve adolescent productive health face several challenges. They must provide appropriate information and clinical services while helping youth develop decision-making and other key skills. Programs must consider the underlying factors that influence adolescents' choices, such as cultural norms, peer and mass media influence, and economic hardship, and develop program strategies responsive to youth's needs. Programs also must build community and political support for youth-centered activities. Making clinical services available, adolescent clinical health services are best staffed by providers trained to deal with specific adolescent health concerns and to counsel adolescents about sensitive reproductive health issues and contraceptive use. In all interventions, providers must consider adolescents' marital status, overall health, and how much power they have in sexual relationships. Adolescents often name the following characteristics as important to meeting their health needs: confidentiality, convenient location and hours, youth-friendly environment, open to men and women, strong counseling component, specially trained providers, and comprehensive clinical services. Providing information. Providing appropriate and relevant information about reproductive health is essential to any program. Clinic-based education and counseling are important to its effort, as are school-based programs. Obviously, parents are a key source of information. Although they may feel ill-informed or embarrassed to discuss these topics with their children, or simply may disapprove of young people expressing an interest in sexuality. Youth-friendly approaches such as radio call-in shows, drop-in centers, magazines, and hotlines also can be effective strategies for reaching adolescents. Developing skills. Adolescents need to develop practical skills for improving their health. One approach to this challenge is the Choose a Future program being implemented in 5 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. The program uses exercises, role plays, community visits, and other means to teach health skills, including how to avoid STDs, set goals, and improve communication with family and friends. The curriculum also addresses gender equities that affect health and promotes shared male-female responsibility for health. Another example of this approach is a life planning skills curriculum being implemented in selected secondary schools in Kenya. In addition to providing information about STDs, pregnancy, and contraception, the program trains peer educators to provide school-based AIDS education. Considering the context of young lives, the perspectives of young people around the world are molded by the situations in which they live. Girls with little, if any, education may view early marriage and childbearing as their only path in life. Children living in poverty may feel no reason to plan for the future and protect their health. Other factors that influence adolescent health and behavior include poverty, including malnutrition, political strife, including displaced populations, peer pressure and media influence, gender equities and sexual exploitation, cultural expectation about childbearing. Ensuring programs' relevance to youth. Program planners must first identify clearly what group of adolescents a new program will serve, and then involve them in a meaningful way in the development of the program. Some organizations like the International Planned Parenthood Federation have done this by creating youth advisory panels to help shape program ideas. The Street Children Project, initiated by WHO's program on substance abuse, recommends that groups working with street children keep current of changing needs among their clients by holding 3 or 4 series of focus groups per year. Building community support. Programs for adolescents often encounter problems gaining community acceptance because adults fear that access to education and services will encourage adolescent sexual activity. Program evaluations have shown this not to be the case. Some programs have found that explaining objectives to parents, religious leaders, and community leaders and inviting them to discussion sessions with adolescents help reduce opposition. In Nigeria, the Family Planning Association of Kenya helps parents approach their children to share information about reproductive health issues and encourages a lifelong discussion about reproductive health. In Uganda, the Program for Enhancing Adolescent Reproductive Life (PEARL) involves government representatives, NGOs, community groups, young people, and others in a program to increase awareness about reproductive health issue, encourage advocacy, and provide services. Program strategies. Experience suggests that a combination of approaches often is most effective in reaching youth, but few programs have been rigorously evaluated for impact, making determination of best practices a challenge. Described below are some common approaches. Youth-oriented clinic services are quite common in the United States, Western Europe, and Latin America. These clinics provide a wide range of clinical and social services such as pregnancy and STD prevention, counseling, and testing. For example, in 1990, the Maria Auxiliadora Hospital began offering services to the 1 million adolescents in areas around Lima, Peru. The hospital established 10 adolescent clinics to provide outreach services and prevention counseling. The connection between STD and other reproductive health services appears to make the clinics more useful to adolescents. School-based clinics are available in some developed and developing countries. The services provided vary considerably, but at a minimum include basic health monitoring and referral services. In developed countries, some school-based clinics provide condoms and counseling about pregnancy and STD prevention, as well as referral for other contraceptive and reproductive health services. These services often are controversial. However, in developing countries, school-based services often are limited by restrictive policies, personnel shortages, lack of private areas for counseling, and poor links to resources outside the school. Multi-service youth centers offer contraceptive services as part of comprehensive programs for youth, including education, recreation, and employment preparation. One successful program is the Women's Center for Pregnant Adolescents in Jamaica. Since 1978, this program has enabled teenage girls to continue their schooling during pregnancy, to return to school after the birth of their child, and to avoid another pregnancy during adolescence. While in the program, girls continue their academic studies, receive family planning, information and services, learn skills to care for their children, and receive other life planning services. Community-based outreach programs are especially important to groups such as out-of-school youth, street youth, and girls who have limited freedom to leave their community. These community-based projects use a variety of formats to reach each youth where they congregate for work or play. Youth groups such as scouting and sport programs have been useful in providing reproductive health information as part of programs that focus on the general well-being of the participants. Workplace health programs can be important resources for young women and men. Discussions allow participants to learn and practice skills such as negotiating, planning, and sexual health, like using a condom. Implications and conclusions. Young and adolescent people face many risks to their reproductive health. Early and unwanted pregnancy, unsafe abortion, STD or HIV infection, and sexual violence. Programs to improve adolescent reproductive health must understand these risks and consider many influences on adolescents' lives. Such factors as whether adolescents have initiated sexual activity, are married, are in school, or are working are important. The impact of poverty, gender equities, legal restrictions, and various cultural expectations also must be addressed. Successful programs provide necessary counseling and clinical services and aim to help young people develop skills to make healthy life choices. These programs respect the needs, concerns, and insights of young people by including them in the design and implementation of activities. Successful programs also work with parents, community groups, and religious leaders to secure their approval and participation. With the need of adolescent health services growing fast, it is important that new and expanded programs build upon successful experience. Thank you.